But it also helped me process that he was going through so much. And he was hiding so much,
Family
and there
for
must have been a lot of
revealing tWitch's skeletons before he U-vibed himself. Like, we even have one Darielle, a cousin of tWitch, accusing Allison of... You guys won't believe this latest twist in the whole tWitch situation. It's honestly shocking, so get ready to have your jaws drop. We all know that tWitch was found in a hotel room after his tragic passing, and there's been a lot of talk about how odd his wife Allison seemed during the whole thing. But, well, now Allison is opening up more about what really went down, and trust me, she's not holding anything back. And here's the kicker. To attend his funeral, the family had to sign non-disclosure agreements. Can you even imagine? Things are getting messier by the day, and it seems like more and more secrets are coming to light. What do you think about all of this? Should she have kept quiet, or is she just trying to tell her side of the story? Allison admitted that it was a really triggering moment for her. There were so many things in their closet she had no idea were there, and finding them was alarming to say the least. It must have been such a tough moment for her, discovering this side of tWitch she never knew existed. How would you feel if you were in her shoes? That's a lot to process, especially after everything that had already happened. She said that she and tWitch had always been honest with each other, even about his struggles. After their kids went to bed, tWitch would go to the guest house to smoke or drink. That was his time to be alone, to recharge, and to cope. It was his way of dealing with everything he was carrying. Can you imagine how tough it must be for Allison to process all of this now? It's a lot to take in, especially when you're just trying to make sense of someone's hidden battles. How would you feel if you discovered this side of your partner after everything? She said tWitch was dealing with a lot inside, trying to handle his emotions on his own. He was using substances to cope because he didn't want to burden anyone else. It must have been so hard for her to uncover all of this after losing him. Can you imagine what it would feel like to find out so much about someone you loved after they're gone? It's a lot to process, and it makes you think about the things people might be hiding, even from the ones they trust most. What do you think? Would you have handled it the same way, or would you feel differently if you were in her shoes?
Must have been a lot of shame in that, and he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on.
He didn't want anyone else to carry his pain. Because he loved everyone so deeply, he cared so much that he chose to keep his struggles to himself. Allison shared that tWitch had hinted in his journal entries about being abused by a male figure during his childhood. She believes this trauma may have stayed with him, affecting him throughout his life, even up to the day he passed. In the interview, she admitted it was really hard to piece everything together. Even after talking with friends and reflecting on things people had said, it wasn't easy to make sense of it all. But reading through his journals showed her just how much he had been through, helping her understand his struggles on a deeper level. Allison reflected on how tWitch seemed to be struggling between two sides of himself. On one hand, there was the energetic and outgoing tWitch everyone knew and loved. On the other, there was Steven, the quiet, introverted man who just wanted to be the best husband and dad to their 3 kids. Looking back, she now realizes how much he was battling inside. 2 very different personalities were increasingly battling each other. She was like, when I would think about my husband at the time, I would think, oh, I love that tWitch is such a great performer, but then when he comes home, he feels safe enough to be Steven. I was with him for so long, and that's how he's been the entire relationship. I was like, it's a beautiful thing that he can be both. Something else. She said, was that the morning before he went missing, tWitch dropped off Wesley at school. She was the last person in the family to see him alive, and his final words to her were, "I wish I could be your Superman." At the time, those words didn't really seem out of place, but looking back, they carry so much weight. It's hard to fully understand them, especially for someone so young like Wesley.
With far more grace than she should have to. But we took the steps to really help her and communicate with her and make her feel seen and heard in it. And I think she also sees those words as something beautiful and also ugly. You know, it's a battle that she's gonna...
Darielle, clearly upset, said, "I don't care about the NDA," and accused Allison of trying to damage tWitch's legacy. She also said that Allison was stopping the Boss family from seeing the kids. It's clear that tensions are running high and emotions are all over the place. Twitch's family had already said that Allison was keeping the kids from them. His brother Dre even went on Instagram to express his frustration. He said that since his brother's passing, his side of the family hadn't been allowed to see the kids. Dre mentioned that their mother and grandparents were also being kept from seeing them, which only added to the growing tension and hurt feelings within the family. They were still trying to come to terms with Twitch's death, but they felt disrespected and pushed aside when it came to family matters. Dre, without directly naming their mother, shared that Twitch's 3 kids were having much less contact with their grandmother and the rest of the family. In his post to Allison, Dre expressed how the family felt that there was a real lack of respect for their mother, who was grieving the loss of her son. He pointed out that her sadness only grew as she was being kept away from important family moments and felt more and more isolated. Dre stressed that their goal wasn't to point fingers, but to create a peaceful space where the family could grieve and heal together. He hoped they could move past this difficult moment and come together to honor his brother's memory. He believed their actions should be focused on love and unity, not creating more distance. The family believes that the values Twitch held dear, love, respect, and unity, are not being reflected in what's happening. With Allison giving interviews and even releasing a book, many family members feel deeply disrespected. Twitch's friends also seem to share these feelings. For example, Courtney and Platt, a close friend of Twitch, called the interview the most tacky, classless, and opportunistic thing she had ever witnessed. The classic story is not that the family really loves each other. It's not that they spend time together. The aftermath of Meredith's mother's death and the controversy surrounding it, Twitch concluded that largely the reputation that was found in Twitch's family across the country was harmed and disrupted. She even shared a photo of the headline from People magazine and went off in a powerful caption, writing an emotional message aimed at Allison. She didn't hold back, saying, "This, what you're doing now, is the most tacky, classless, and opportunistic thing I've ever seen in my life." Courtney even shared that everyone had to sign a strange NDA just to attend Twitch's funeral. She also brought up how Allison had treated Twitch's mother, calling out how she had been treated badly throughout everything. Courtney was clearly upset, saying, "Let's not forget you wouldn't even have had a husband if it weren't for her. You act like no one was ever trying to ruin his name, but then you go and write a book airing all his dirty laundry, smearing his reputation and trying to dim the bright, loving, loyal person he was. That's not right, honey." Courtney had a lot more to say, but it didn't end there. Twitch's brothers actually reposted her message, which shows they agreed with everything she had expressed. Along with Courtney, fitness instructor Kelly Gibson also spoke out, saying, "This whole thing just makes me so sad. He's gone, so why tear down his name? I supported you finding happiness and moving on, but this book, it wasn't worth ruining his legacy for a paycheck." Allison didn't stay silent, responding to Kelly with, "I'll always love you. I'm just trying to make people feel safe enough to ask for help and support." Allison is set to release her memoir This Far on February 4th. In this book, she'll open up even more about her own challenges and what she's learned along the way. After sharing so much in just one interview, just imagine how much more she's going to reveal in the full book. Some excerpts are already out, and one part talks about a time when she couldn't find Twitch and wasn't sure where he had gone. At first, she thought he'd gone to rehab because of his struggles with substance use. She also shares that, before learning the full truth, she didn't realize everything he was going through. This book is sure to get people talking once it's out. While Allison is facing a lot of backlash, some people are actually defending her. They're saying it's wild that Twitch's family and friends are criticizing her for speaking out about his alleged addiction. These people believe that Allison is just trying to tell her side of the story, even though it's difficult for everyone involved. This is exactly what critics have said for over a quarter century, that Allison just has a blind side on her art. A lot of people believe Allison has every right to share her story, especially if it helps others who might be going through something similar. But what do you think? Did she have the right to talk about Twitch's struggles so openly? Or do you feel she's crossed a line and is just trying to profit from it? I really want to know what you all think, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below.